is the JFJ Conspiracy, where the shop talk is rock.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Frank.
And I'm Jerry.
And this is the JFJ Conspiracy Podcast, where the shop talk is rock. How we doing, guys?
Wonderful, guys. How are you?
Great. Just great.
Excellent. You know, normally we start the show off and we chit-chat a little bit, or we have a question or something, what's going on. But because we're giving away a T-shirt or two this episode, look at that Gildan back there.
Or three.
Or three.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just present our three bands, and we'll revisit Heaven and Hell, and we'll give away some T-shirts, and maybe win over some new fans. How about that?
That would be great.
Wonderful.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay, Jim, why don't you tell us what you got for us this week?
Okay, so the band I have is called the Rassle. It's two brothers, Blair and Reed Van Nort. They're originally from Austin, Texas, now currently residing in New York. And I hadn't heard of these guys before, but evidently they've garnered some press. So the album came out in November of last year, so long ago. Was it 3 months? Beginning of November. And I found these guys on Reverb Nation, just doing a random listen. And I had, they allow you to set various parameters in there, right? So I had pop, hard rock, metal. And it was just band after band of everything that sounded the same. Like, the pop songs were killing me. So I had to go in there and change the parameter, take all the pop out.
Right.
Because it was
In a bad way, folks. They weren't killing him in a good way.
no, not killing me in a good way. They weren't killing it. So it was, it's all the kind of pop music I really hate, you know. And so it was kind of hard rock and metal, and everything just sounded the same. You know, all the metal bands had that kind of death vocal going on, that in your face double bass drum, and it was just kind of song after song like that. And then the hard rock, for whatever reason, everything sounded like Nickelback.
Yeah.
And it was just driving me a little.
Under the hard rock filter? Under the hard rock filter? Nickelback?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
What's going on, folks?
But it was just driving me a little nuts. And then this song 21 came on by this band, the Rassle, and I just loved it. And it sounded completely original, completely different, didn't sound like anybody else. And reached out to these guys, found out that their song on SoundCloud, the song we're going to hear tonight, Roll On, racked up 175,000 streams.
That's great.
That's impressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just extremely impressive. I was like wondering where these guys have been. They've been covered in Nylon, Interview Magazine, Noisy, The Fader, T Magazine, Flaunt. So they've got some press. They've been kind of named as one of the bands to watch in 2018, although now we're in 2019. And I'm just grateful I found them, because I kind of fell in love with their stuff. It was just so unique, and it just kind of set them apart from the crowd and everything else I was hearing that day. So
Very cool. Well, what do you say we give them a listen?
let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Took my heart, took my soul, it took my pride away.
All right, that's Roll On.
I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty catchy.
Yeah, a little poppier than the other song I heard. The other song was a little more rockin', little more guitarish, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This album was produced by a guy named John O'Mahony, who worked with both Metric and The Kills, two bands I happen to really like,
right.
And I think it was a good choice for these guys. Yeah, that song, I don't know, something a little reminiscent of maybe like New Order. I don't know. I heard a little bit of that in there.
To me, the guitar is in excess. Totally, that that stuff is in excessy very much, and I like it.
A lot of layers in there. That's the whole thing.
Yes.
That's why it was good, is because it was not a lot of pop songs are thin.
Yeah, the vocals take me somewhere else though, and I haven't come up with it yet. Yeah, very good, Jim. Yeah.
I love it. Kind of dreamy, and I really liked it, and I like these guys. So we'll throw a link in there. Please check them out.
Absolutely, good stuff.
Good stuff, Jim. Yeah, right. I like it.
Well, I always seem to pick bands with names of people I can't pronounce, and I didn't want to disappoint this week.
Lay it on us, Frank.
Yeah. Well, the name of the band that I'm going to present to you today is called Hardware 86. They're from Norway, and there's two gentlemen who consist of this band, Sigurd Eckel and Rune Alberg Alsted. And
fantastic Scandinavian.
Well done.
That's fantastic Scandinavian names, brother. Well done.
These guys started as a study project at the Norwegian University of Technology and Science.
Well,
and the EP they have out right now is called Arena, and basically they have a love for 80s rock. And
who doesn't?
Take you back to the synthesizers, and they dare you to find music with thicker sounding guitars. And this album, the whole thing is pretty good, but this particular song that we're going to listen to is called Arena, and it's got, like I say, 80 synths and guitars. The EP, again, released way last year, Jim, on 12/21/18.
Oh, that far back.
And we're going to play this song called Arena. They are available on CD Baby, iTunes, Bandcamp. They're on Spotify. So if this song moves you like I think it might, you can check out their other music. But right here is Hardware 86 and Arena.
You're the new love for me, yeah. You turned around, protect me, and I just had to have you. No need to tell you. Someday soon, you and me together. Someday soon together, you and me. And both know this time it is real and forever. Someday soon together, you will see. My arena is the place to be. Making love in a downtown elevator. Is it only in my fantasy? Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Turned around, crossed the street, and I nearly lost you. I just had to tell.
All right, well, that's a taste of Hardware 86 with
Yeah,
Arena.
boy.
Now, if that don't take you back to the 80s...
Nothing does, folks.
I think that 86 in their name was like perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like 1986.
Right. It's not
Yeah.
82, Jim. You're right. It's 86 is perfect.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, I normally,
That's good.
you know, you're talking about how you pick a song, and you actually found these guys on Bandcamp, and I always filter hard rock because I like the more of the grungier rock, you know, garage sound and raw and everything. But I popped this one in, and right away, you know, the synthesizers, I'm like, synthesizers, man, that's not for me. But those guitars kicked in. I'm like,
when the power chords kick in, life is wonderful.
I'm like, all right, I'm back to right out of high school type of thing, you know, looking for a job and everything else, and cruising in my Camaro and all that. And, you know, I really enjoyed the song, though.
Sorry, guys, wifey's home.
All right.
Love you.
Very good.
Sorry.
What,
Laura gets an
What
honorable
is it?
mention.
what is it about European hard rock bands that they feel the need to have a synthesizer and such a synthesizer that is so in your face?
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
Jim, that's the setup. That's the setup. You come in with that synth, and you're thinking, okay, techno, and then they bombard you with some fat power chords. I love it. I love it.
Well,
Well, it had its time.
I'm glad you love it.
Did have its time, but
Yeah.
you know,
I was talking about this with Frank. You know, when I think of a hard rock band, I think of like kind of the Aerosmith setup, you know, like 2 guitars, bass, drums, maybe a lead vocalist or somebody who sings, you know, leads. And I'm good without the synthesizer.
But you know what? In 1986, you probably, you know, couldn't get on the radio unless you had one at that time, because every year when the new technology came out, you remember when Judas Priest started playing with synthesizer guitars, and then Iron Maiden was doing it, and it's just it's what's in at that moment. Now these guys went backwards in time, and you're right, Norway, this is their thing. Yeah.
Not a bad song. I mean, it's typical melodic hard rock, 80s melodic hard rock. I think if you're a fan of the genre.
Did you think of the band Europe at all?
Absolutely.
of course.
Absolutely.
Frank, I hate to say this, but when those opening chords come in, it totally reminds me of Tom Petty. Quit jamming me. I'm telling you, listen to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
No.
But I wasn't a big Europe fan.
No.
So,
They blew up. Remember how they blew up, guys?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, because of the final countdown.
The final
Right.
countdown. Well, because of
But they
MTV.
toured and released another album. To me, if you can release an album, have a hit, and tour, and release another album, you know, you're above the cut a little bit, at least.
Well, it's kind of sad when a band's longevity is 2 albums. You know, you know, in the old days,
how many one-hit wonders do we know? You know,
there's some that don't even put out albums. You're right; they just put out singles. But that was the '70s. You know, but
He referenced making love in an elevator, and it instantly brought thoughts of Aerosmith.
Aerosmith
to my
Up an
head.
elevator.
could be.
Yeah.
And so, but you know,
Okay, not the most original to Jim, and it's not.
I think it's well produced, and
Yes.
this, as far as engineering, sounds great.
Yeah, and I think for the goal that they're going after, for a time period piece, they nailed it. They nailed it.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Yep.
So.
absolutely.
All right, well, that is Hardware 86, and they're on Facebook, and they're also, like I said, all the other spots I told you about, iTunes, CD Baby, Spotify. You can stream them, check it out. Some of their other stuff, I didn't think it was as in your face as this particular song, but this one grabbed me from the get-go because I got a big smile on my face when I listened to it.
Yeah.
Great drum sound.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You know,
All right, Jerry, what do you got for us this week?
A little change of pace. I got David Woodard from Nashville. A solo guy, good stuff. Little Beatley, little. His bio states that he didn't know Paul McCartney was in a band before Wings. so then he listens to his dad's and his aunt's Beatle records, and that influenced him, encouraged him to pick up the guitar. Now he has an EP or a single released in December, way back in December, Frank.
Way back
Like
then.
you say, yeah. And it's Waiting for Christmas. And that's good. But then he came out with an EP called I Used to Be Cool in November of 18. So just a week before last Thanksgiving.
Right.
I Used to Be Cool is a fantastic song. It's got great slide in it. It's a wonderful video on YouTube. The guy's got a wonderful voice. Let me go over stuff real quick. We got David Woodard, the artist, on guitars, vocals, and production. We've got Michael Spears, Tommy Holland, and Gabe Wicks on bass through various songs, different bass players. We got Bobby Colbert, who plays slide on Used to Be Cool. I don't know if it's going to be in our clip, but it's great slide. Reminds me kind of like Rod Price from Foghat. Very haunting, good slide.
Beautiful.
And a short song. We got Brad Chrysler, mastering consultation. I don't know what mastering consultation means. You guys can hook me up on that. We've got his brother, I'm assuming it's Noah Woodard, who does the video. And it's a fantastic video on YouTube, guys. Look it up. David Woodard, I Used to Be Cool. I'm sorry. Go
the
ahead.
video is great.
You go ahead.
It is. It's a
Yes.
fantastic video.
It's a lot of fun.
And the songs on it are, We Didn't Know, I Used to Be Cool, Chase After Me, Every Broken Dream, and Help, which is a remake of the Beatles song, obviously, Help. And it's a nice little EP. I like it. It's wonderful. It's
Awesome.
wonderful stuff. Yeah.
Before I play it, I want to let you guys know I reached out to David before Christmas because I found his Christmas song on CD Baby, and I actually wanted to play it on our show before Christmas, and David didn't have an email contact through CD Baby. And so I kind of searched, and finally I sent him a message through there. This is contact the artist type of deal, but there wasn't a direct email. So he didn't get it until after Christmas. And he was nice enough. He said, hey, I'm really sorry. Would have loved to have my song played. So then he threw this at us. And I like this. Just the Christmas song's great, too. If you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. Very talented guy.
Very.
But I want to let every artist know, if you're on any page whatsoever, CD Baby, Bandcamp, Reverb Nation, put your contact information, splatter that stuff all over the place so goofs like us can find it and get you some exposure. Because,
Maybe even I can find it.
yeah, if Jerry could find it, you're in.
If anybody can.
And for crying out loud, be responsive. The last the Rassle got back to me in within minutes.
Yes.
It was
Last
so
radio
quick.
was pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of bands have been really good, and others,
Nate.
don't hear about it from it at all. And when you finally do, you're 3-4 shows into it, and I've lost interest at this point. So we've got plenty of bands in the cache waiting to be played. So kind of snooze you lose, guys. So this is I Used to Be Cool from David Woodard.
Tell you my worst kept secret, as if you didn't already know. And if you promise not to laugh, I'll give you the blow by blow. I used to be cool. 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 I listened to all the right music. I held court at the mall arcade. Before they went and changed the rules, I was all the rage. I used to be cool. 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 Don't you know that I used to be cool? I used to be cool. I used to be cool. Don't you know that I used to be cool? I wore tight sunglasses. I was all the bugs.
All right. Well, that is some pretty catchy stuff.
Love the slide. I'm glad it was in that little clip, Frank.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love that slide. Oi.
Yeah. That had a little bit of everything. A really cool bass line and the
great
jangle.
bass tone.
Yes.
And comes in under 3 minutes, Jim.
And it's very important.
241, I think it is. Yeah.
There's nothing on Heaven and Hell that I think is
No.
under 4 minutes.
Well,
so-
yeah.
But you know what? They get a pass. I'm sorry.
but there's only 8 songs.
You certainly do get a pass.
That's a very catchy tune with, like I said, I love the bass line. What I liked almost immediately was the sounds of the drums, because you had your jingly jangly guitars,
I was going to say, Frank, it's very jangly.
It is
and
jangly,
I love it.
but
Right, Jim?
that has a
right.
place, and that shows his Beatle influence and
Yes.
sound, along with the backing vocals and everything.
Yes.
But then those drums come in, and it's modern and well recorded. They did a good job when they consulted with their mastering technician, obviously.
Mastering consultation. Yeah, you guys can explain that one to me. Yeah.
Now that was good. I look forward to hearing some more. What else has he got out there, Jerry?
I got the Waiting for Christmas, and then this EP, I Used to Be Cool. It's got 5 songs on it. That's what I found.
Very good. Very good. And again, David, we appreciate you getting back to us.
Yeah, thank you, David, very much. Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, guys, that was 3 different styles of music today. We had some 80s flair. We had some pure pop from Jim. And then I don't even know how to categorize.
Power pop, man.
Power
That's
pop?
some power
Yeah.
pop.
Power pop? Europe is power pop?
No, I'm
I
talking.
would call it power pop. Although, here's my thing about power pop. So you can get 3 power pop fans in a room, and they will all disagree on what is and what isn't power
Have
pop.
a-
Good point.
Probably
Good
have
point.
a rumble about that.
Yeah, but to me, that's power pop. But
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Great tune. Great lyrics, and
Oh, I love it.
look up the video because it's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I Used to Be Cool video. Oh, yeah, it's a great video. Yeah. It's like us.
I know there's
If
a
you watch it, folks. I'm telling you.
Yep.
There's a moment in the-
Damn, that's us.
moment in the video where he's buying a minivan, and I was just having like flashbacks of
Turn
me
it into
driving my
hot rod,
kids
yeah.
around in a van,
Ah.
thinking there's no way to be cool in a minivan.
Well, you
I
can
love it,
certainly try.
Yeah. You could try to be cool. Roll down the window, hang your arm out, but you're still in a minivan,
You're
bro.
Still in a
Still in a
minivan.
minivan, baby.
Yep. All right, guys. I tell you what, before we get into heaven and hell, why don't we give away some T-shirts?
Let's do it.
All right.
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, we've been slowly gathering a small rumble of fans and followers. We greatly appreciate it, and we want to give back a little bit. So
Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, you want to go first, Jerry? And what we've all done here, so everybody knows, is each of us have taken a portion of the social media and our followers and put some names in a hat. And we're going to pull a name out each. I think I've got YouTube. I think, Jerry, you're on Facebook. And Jim, you're Instagram.
Instagram.
And, hey, there was no disclosure. Family and friends were eligible. We're not going to worry about that. We didn't give any T-shirts away beforehand. So if somebody gets one and, you want to contest that winning, write to Jerry Oberg at JFJ Show.
Gmail.
At gmail.com.
Yep.
All right, Jerry, go ahead.
Okay, folks. I have all my names in a hat, in my Packer hat, that are not playing football for this year.
That's one hat ready to watch football.
That's out to Todd and Debbie right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Say nice little dig.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I've got Gail Kimball Barrios.
All
Right
right,
there.
Gail.
There you are, Gail.
All right,
Gail
Gail.
Kimball from high school, our friend.
So you're going to need
Congratulations,
Husband,
Gail.
Jim.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, Gail.
Awesome.
to get. It's a shout out to Gail. Make sure you,
Out to Gail. Love you. Love you very much, Gail and Jim. Yeah.
if you want to get a hold of that T-shirt, you've got several ways of doing it. Since you happen to know us, you can get a hold of us, or you can write us at jfjshow@gmail.com with your address, and we'll mail it out to you. If not, drive down the street and see Jerry, or Jim,
Right.
or myself.
Yeah. Isn't she closer to you?
Yeah, she's not too far. Not too far. I think we're in the middle. See, I'm out in the boonies, and we're kind of in the middle of everything. So, all right. So I'll go ahead.
Love you, Gail.
My hat is actually a wrestling mask. Of
Yeah.
the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of Los Angeles of Anaheim. All right.
Worst name in baseball.
Yes. Oh, if they've got to change that sometime, they're probably going to move to
I love
Pacoima,
it.
and
A
you'll still.
wrestling mask.
Yeah.
You know, they're in a battle with their stadium to find somewhere else. So, all right, out of the hat. What I get here, we have Gabriel Ponce or Ponce.
Oh.
Don't know who you are?
Yeah.
That's not a family or friend of mine.
Oh.
So congratulations, Gabriel. Get a hold of us. Let us know what size T-shirt you wear, and we'll get it out to you free of charge. All right, Jim, you're up.
Okay, here we go. So these are our Instagram followers. And I'll hold it up high so I can't.
What type of hat?
What hat
Jim?
are you
Come on.
Uh,
sporting?
this is Los Angeles Football Club.
Soccer.
What the 8?
Yeah, soccer.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
soccer.
Soccer, baby.
Hey, if Americans aren't good at it, it's not a sport, Jim. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's the most popular sport in the world, and we won't embrace it.
So here we have NCuriel0 at
Okay,
Instagram, and I believe that is one of the guys from Glass Radio.
I think
That's
so.
Nate, the vocalist and guitarist from Glass Radio.
All
So
right.
Nate,
Get in touch with us. But hey, here's the deal, Nate. You're going to have to wear the shirt at one of the shows.
There you go,
And
Nate.
we wanna
You
see
got
it
one
on
coming up in
YouTube.
March, you said. So, Nate Curiel, Glass Radio. You want a JFJ Conspiracy T-shirt. Rock on, dude.
That's pretty good. And as time goes on, if you didn't win this time, don't worry. There will be more contests and giveaways in the
giveaways.
future.
Yeah.
heck yeah.
We've got some
Yeah.
some things
Great fun.
cooking, and we'll see what we're going to do in the future. But don't give up, folks. Don't give up.
No. Gildan. The best cotton out there, folks. I'm telling you.
Before we get in, I know we said
know.
we weren't going to talk, but we've zipped along here so fast tonight. Did either one of you catch Greta Van Fleet on Saturday Night Live?
I did not.
Didn't stay up that late when it happened, but watched it on YouTube.
Okay, Cindy and I watched it, and immediately was trying to figure out what the lead singer was wearing. It looked like a woman's outfit of some kind. Throwback to the 70s, had some frills on
late
it, and
60s
some
even.
gauchos
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Curly stuff, some leather, some leather
Yeah.
stuff that's cutting strands, like
Yeah.
that moves. And
Well, the
like
first song they
moccasins.
played, and I can't tell you the name of it because I'm not a fan of theirs, there was no hook to that song whatsoever. And we sat there, and we both sat there with open minds to watch this new
No, you didn't.
great
Frank.
upset. Oh no, we did because you know
You
what?
sat there with an open mind at 11:30 on a Saturday night.
Well, actually, I didn't watch it. I watched it at 9:00 in the morning on Sunday after 2 cups of coffee. So.
Okay.
But the first song had no hook whatsoever. We sat there and then we looked over at each other and she's like, pass, forget it, go. Usually when Saturday Night Live has bands on now because it's rap or it's something else.
to look forward to,
As soon as it comes on, 10 seconds into it, fast forward. I gave this one almost a minute and kept waiting for it to kick in. And it never did. It never did it for me. The second song, and I don't know their music. The second song, I'm guessing it's from their new album or whatever. A lot more of the same thing. It was had an acoustic guitar to it, a little bit more of a melody, but I gave that one maybe a minute and a half, and then we fast forwarded.
Wow.
So, what was your take, Jerry?
Well, I bought the album a long time ago. Haven't listened to it since. I follow them on Instagram, and they're doing a huge tour. They did Europe. They're doing everywhere. They're nominated for a best new band or some type of stuff on the Grammys. Very Zeppy. They get a lot of heat from sounding Zeppy. But if you play a Gibson SG and you got a deep drummer with some beat and a good bass player and a singer with a high voice, somebody's going to say that. To me, it's original. It's 3 brothers and their friend, the Kiska brothers, vocals, bass, and guitar. And the drummer, I think, is Danny Wagner, who plays a beautiful Ludwig. But to me, it's good. To me, you have to be in that mood. In other words, when they first broke, it could be over a year now. I'm not really sure, but I loved it. When I first heard the first song, I loved it. They had an EP out with 4 songs. And
That
that's
was
where I got, and then so you like the EP?
I
but not
liked
the album?
the EP. The album fell flat for me.
Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
heard the album yet.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Extra songs. Yeah.
my point is, if this is the state of rock and roll, we got issues, folks. Because there's gotta gotta be more out there than this. You know, I mean, granted,
Right.
what have we said before? There's only 12 notes. There's only, you can only do so much. Yeah, but
Well,
and I'm sure I'm going to get lots of hate from people because they are the it thing right now. But that did not move me at all. So I was a little disappointed. And not to mention that the rest of the show pretty much stunk anyways too. That's
I
besides the
haven't
point.
seen Saturday
Well,
Night Live in decades.
It's garbage. Garbage.
Yeah, when you said Saturday Night
Decades.
Live, I'm trying to remember the last time I watched it. Maybe '86.
I don't know if you heard or not, Jim, but John Belushi passed away. So, anyways, yeah.
Chevy Chase of the show.
Yeah, Chevy Chase.
Bill Murray had a good movie.
I said 86.
Oh, I
Oh.
thought you said 76.
And I don't
I'm
even.
so-
Oh, Joe Piscopo, maybe. I don't know. Eddie Murphy's
No, I
not on
don't.
there anymore. Yeah,
I don't remember. Eddie Murphy was on at that
Stevie
point. I
Wonder
think.
bit. I love that. Yeah.
but no, that's all I wanted to. I wanted to get your guys' take, and if you haven't, I don't know if you've heard their music off the new album, Jim, or not. But I was curious what you guys thought. We talked about it being Zeppelin-esque before, and I was kind of
Yes.
disappointed.
It is, but we should do it a Academy or a Grammy show and just who did they nominate in the top? Who's the top nominations in the rock category and see what we get.
Yeah,
I'm almost afraid to look it up.
Yeah, no, I have no
I
idea.
hate the-
I don't
hate
watch
the
any of it.
Grammys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hey,
hate
when
the
A
Grammys.
Taste of Honey won Best New Band over the Cars in 1979.
So when you gave up
Oh no! What about when Jethro Tull won the Best Heavy Metal song over
Heavy metal.
Metallica?
Yeah.
When was that?
yeah,
I don't know.
so
When Taste of Honey won Best New Band is
Over
when
the
I stopped
Cars.
caring.
oh, you
That's
cared.
when I was all like, "Oh, this is bogus."
And
Oh,
some of
no.
the cars were in the audience. They did little camera shots on them. I'm
Mhm.
going, this is it. This is it. And the winner is Taste of Honey with Get Down, Boogie, Oogie, Oogie.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, someone had asked me if we would do a show on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and take our take on it, and I said, well, we can't even censor ourselves to talk about that because
No.
it's a farce and a fallacy, and why would we waste anybody's time to talk about it?
Mhm.
That's why we do this podcast because we talk about what we want to talk about.
Don't get me going on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So you'll see me and chuckling.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm.
All right. Well, let's move ahead, fellas. Heaven and Hell. This was my pick.
Yes.
And
Yes.
April 25th, 1980. And
Junior year.
junior year in high school. And me being a devout Black Sabbath fan, I was crushed when at the end of that tour of Never Say Die, I found out Ozzy had been kicked out of the band. And there can be no more Black Sabbath. Ozzy was Black Sabbath. His voice was synonymous with what Black Sabbath's sound was all about. And so I heard about this album coming out, Heaven and Hell, and thought, I didn't know at that time it was going to be Ronnie James Dio, of course. But I just, they've got this new album coming out. We'll check it out. Yeah, we'll see how it is. And dare I say it's their best album?
If you take their debut out, if you take Black Sabbath
You
debut
think
out
their
of it,
first album's better than Heaven and Hell?
it was because it was so different at the time. Heaven and Hell is, to me, the three guys, Bill Ward on drums, Geezer Butler on bass, Tony Iommi, they got a rejuvenating pill or something when Dio entered. Because if you go Never Say Die and put in Heaven and Hell, it doesn't even sound like the same band.
No, well, Geezer used to write all the lyrics, right?
Okay.
Geezer was the main lyric writer, and Ozzy only sang exactly the same riff that Tony Iommi was playing. He never sang a melody. If you listen to their old songs, I am Iron Man, just the same as whatever the riff is. That's how he's singing. Ronnie James Dio comes in and brings a whole nother dimension to this band with his kings and queens and his medieval
It's always
stuff.
dragons and the realm.
Oh,
and, dragons in the realm. Yeah, but it's good.
That album, that's an album that I listen to this day on a regular basis. So, what did you think, Jim?
I agree 100%. Absolutely, their
Best Black
best
Sabbath album, Jim?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was blown away when this came out. I was never a big Sabbath fan. I mean, I knew the hits, right? Anything that wasn't kind of played on the radio when I'd hear it, I was kind of really lukewarm on it at best. I was never a big fan of Ozzy's voice. And when I heard Ronnie James Dio was going to be the singer, I thought, because I loved Rainbow.
Yeah.
You know, I thought like, well, this could be good. And I remember hearing Neon Nights. Holy cat. I was like, man, this is Sabbath?
Yeah.
This is Sabbath? This is fantastic.
Whole nother dimension.
Absolutely
they got an
fantastic.
infusion of rock and roll is what they got.
Yeah.
Yes. And having somebody, you know, you talk about Geezer Butler writing the lyrics. Something he later said he never really enjoyed doing.
No. It was out of
necessity. And you could tell.
Yeah.
Because
kind of dark. Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah.
With Dio writing the lyrics, man. I think it just gave the band a shot in the arm. I think they played better than they had ever ever played. They sounded better. The songwriting just improved 1,000%, I thought.
Reading up on it today was kind of interesting. Geezer, during the recording of that, you guys may have read this, was going through a divorce. So he wasn't there at the beginning of the recording process, and Jeff Nichols was sitting in on bass, who he later became their keyboard player.
Wow.
But this cat named Craig Gruber, he claims that's his bass on that record, because they went to the record company went to Tony and said, hey, you know, we have to find a new bass player. We have to get this record done. And Tony says, I don't want a session player. I need someone who's going to be here. And, you know, Geezer will get here, but in the meantime, I just don't want a session player. So they hired this other guy, this Craig Gruber guy, who was going to be, I guess, the touring bass player. And he did he claims that's his bass. Geezer claims he went in and redid everything. But if you listen to it, it sounds like Geezer to me. He has such a distinct style of bass
sounds
playing.
Geezer to me. Yep.
Yeah.
Agree 100%.
But, you know, that was a bad time because Bill Ward was battling alcoholism. He says he doesn't even remember recording the album.
Oh, wow.
You know, and he was
he could sure play good drums on it.
Oh, he was a heavy drummer. He was replaced later.
And drinker, apparently.
But they, you know, produced by Martin Birch, who he was with Rainbow and Deep Purple, and he produced Iron Maiden and Whitesnake.
Connection.
Had he done any Sabbath before that?
I don't recall any Sabbath because I was trying to remember who their producers were, and I don't remember seeing his name before that.
Because
I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up though.
I never paid attention to who produced this, and when I saw Martin Birch, I was like, oh, holy cat, yeah. Iron Maiden. You know, that was Iron Maiden first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, that's the name that we thought of. But what a heavy album. Now, there's another story with the actual song "Heaven and Hell." At the end of that song, where it kind of goes into the interlude or whatever it's called on the outro, radio stations refused to play that because that was like 2 minutes or whatever, a minute and a half of an outgoing slow portion of the song, and they always cut it off and went into another tune. And Black Sabbath was furious over that because they thought that acoustic part at the end was such an important part to that song. Mm-hmm. Now, if you listen to it on the radio, you never hear the outro at all. Yeah. You never hear the outro. Good. Yeah.
So did they release a radio edit or something like that?
No, that was the whole thing. It wasn't. It was just cut off.
It was just cut off by
back
the
in those
station.
days, homeboy just picked up the needle, huh?
Yeah. Or they cued in another song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but I had seen Rainbow maybe the year or year and a half prior to that. Loudest concert I'd ever been to. I think it was Pat Travers and Rainbow.
Oh, Pat Travers and Rainbow. Wow.
Yeah, and was just blown away by Ronnie James Dio.
Radioactive tour, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it made Radioactive. And, well, that was, if I remember correctly, that was the one that Joe Lynn Turner sang on. The one before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Pat Travers played, you know, I think he had Boom Boom Out Go the Lights and a Snorting Whiskey and a few other tunes. He only played for a half
cocaine,
hour. Yeah. But Ronnie James Dio just blew me away. Oh. And then I didn't get to see the Heaven and Hell tour, but I went to Mob Rules, and what a show! And then years later, took my son Dominic and Gino also to see Heaven and Hell. And I want to tell you this story because this is like a thing of fatherhood that it will be a lifelong regret. This is a great Irvine Meadows, and you know the ins and outs of getting into the parking at Irvine Meadows.
Oh yeah, forget it.
Right. Okay, and I've got at this time, a Ford F-150. We pull in, and, there's one small way out, and I park in an angle so that I can get out real quick. Go in. Queensryche opens up the show with Jeff Tate still.
Jeff Tate, yeah.
Awesome show. Next comes Alice Cooper. What a show. What a show. Now, in my head, Heaven and Hell hasn't come out yet. I'm thinking, I got to get out of this parking lot. I'm not going to get home till 2 o'clock in the morning. Watch the whole show up until the encore, which was Neon Nights. And I'm grabbing my boys going, let's go, let's go. My boy's oldest is 26 years old, or going to be 26 years old, and I still hear about it to this day.
He's
the guy.
Looking at you like, what's with you, old man?
Yeah, yeah. And that's one of those regrets that you have you can't take back. And as we're running out of there to the parking lot, you can hear it playing.
You hear it. Oh no.
And so Dominic, if you're watching or listening, I'm sorry, buddy, but these
Poor
things
Dominic.
happen. Yeah,
That's terrible. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
but awesome performers, all of them. And even then,
great.
at that point, when Ronnie James Dio he had cancer at that time. He was already ill. But he still put on a great show.
He always looked a little pale and thin.
Yeah.
But I thought it's because you need all that energy for them vocal cords. Because he would just own it.
Yeah.
That dude owned it from day one.
And they
Born singer.
broke up the first time over a fight over that live album they put out. Because Ronnie James Dio wanted his vocals louder and Tony Iommi wanted his guitar louder. And they were going back and forth behind each other's back into the studio and raising the volumes up.
Changing the mix.
And
wow.
I had heard that.
That did them in, yeah. So the later years, Dehumanizer and a few of those other albums, they're good, but they're not great. They're not Heaven and Hell.
Oh, Heaven and Hell is classic.
No. But see, how lucky were we? What else did we get? If you were an Ozzy fan, we got Blizzard of Oz. And we got Diary of a Madman, and a whole nother career that took off that,
And I thought Ozzy was much better without those guys.
He was.
Same here. To me, that split up and that, Black Sabbath coming out with Dio and Ozzy with Randy Rhoads, to me, that's the best split up ever, excluding the Commodores. When Lionel Richie left the Commodores, he blew up.
Yeah.
And the Commodores, that's what I'm saying. I can't
did
think
Diana
of a
Ross
better-
and the Supremes. Where
you
are we
go.
going with this?
I'm sorry.
not sure.
I just thought.
I'm sure how we got on the Commodores. but
Guys, I'll
okay.
tell you what I thought. When I first heard Ozzy got thrown out, I was like, that's it for Ozzy. That's it for Sabbath.
Yeah.
That's
over.
it.
It's over.
It's over. Heaven and Hell comes out, and I was like, it was mind blowing. It's such a good album. And to me, if I can throw this in, guys, Lonely is the Word, the last song on Heaven and Hell.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get your blues on with Tony Iommi playing blues guitar, listen to it.
Lady Evil is my favorite song on that album. Yeah, that bass line at the beginning of the way that song kicks in is so heavy.
No. Oh yeah, good stuff.
And Ronnie James Dio just growls on that thing. It's awesome.
There's not a bad track on the album.
No, there isn't.
Absolutely not. And I think keeping it to 8 songs, perfect.
Yeah. One other quick story. Jerry and I don't know, I think you were there with us when we were working at the dairy, and Michael Anthony comes in here, and I've told this story before.
Yeah.
I'm a big Sabbath fan. Ozzy can do no wrong in my mind. Never Say Die. What a show. What a concert. All this stuff. Now, they've just toured with Van Halen opening up. And the first thing I asked Michael Anthony, what's it like touring with Ozzy? What a POS. What a goof. What a clown. That talent, he just cut him at the knees. Man, said,
really?
We blew him away and Sabbath away every night. Blew them off the stage. But they had that attitude. And you know what? They were doing it. Years later, Ozzy said, wow, this new band Van Halen came out and made us all rethink our careers.
Yeah.
Good.
Kick their butts every night.
Every
right?
night. Yeah.
Right.
But unreal.
I remember that night, Frank, when he drove in his Porsche.
In his Porsche, yeah. So, Michael Anthony, if you happen to be listening to this, we thank you. We haven't forgotten you. You don't remember
Glendora
us.
Dairy.
Yep. I
He doesn't even remember his time in Glendora.
probably not. He had a house up in the hills for a long
He
time.
had that house on
He
the
did,
top of
long
Grand
time.
forever, I think. It was the top of Grand Avenue, right?
Yep,
Gated
yep.
community, fancy.
Yeah.
One time on KLOS, I was listening to a Billy Squire interview, and it was call in with Bob Coburn, and this girl's all excited, and she goes, "Oh, Billy, I saw you at the Universal Amphitheater." And he cuts her off and goes, "That's funny, I didn't see you." And
What a dick.
yes, and it just ruined.
Sorry.
She forgot her question. She forgot what she was going to ask him, and I'm like, "This is how you thank your fans." He's
What a
just being a
ween.
smart aleck.
That's a ween right there.
Yeah, so.
That's
I'd say
messed
Michael
up.
Anthony wasn't that way. He came in and he gave a bunch of teenagers a thrill of a lifetime meeting a rock star, a true rock
Yourself,
star.
myself, and Greg, too,
Yeah.
right? Greg was there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know, I had
So-
the opportunity to meet Michael. I was at a little club in Pasadena called Pookie's.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you guys ever went to Pookie's. It was a sandwich shop during the day, and they had bands play at night. And
Wonderful.
you
I
could
love it.
probably fit maybe 120 people in
Cool.
there all standing up. And Michael was there one night. And, so everybody's, Michael Anthony's over there. And he's a Pasadena guy, or Altadena, wherever
Yeah.
he's from. But
Mhm.
and I just thought, I'm not going to go bother him. So I just totally passed on
Wow.
going and shaking his hand or whatever. Because I thought,
Yeah.
I know, because I figured, he's just out for an evening.
You
Just
got to be used to it, though. We're
see some
fans.
bands.
You get all googly when you're fans.
I wanted to hug him I met him at Chick's Sporting Goods after the dairy incident. I ran up to him and like, "Hey, do you remember me?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, guy, sure, yeah, rock on."
That's funny. I didn't see you at
Basically,
the dairy.
yeah. But you know what? He was cool. He was cooler than the other side of the pillow, guys.
Everybody says he's an extremely nice guy, and I'm
Yep.
sure he would have been very gracious and everything. But
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like I wanted to bug him. I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, I get you, too. Yeah, I can see that.
Well, guys, you got anything else you want to say about Heaven and Hell? This is the greatest Black Sabbath album ever.
Greatest Black Sabbath album ever,
Guys,
in my opinion.
My opinion
well,
too.
when I put on the first Sabbath album, I do not concur. Now, of course, the mixing's better, everything's better, but we're talking a 10-year time difference.
You like the first Black Sabbath album better than
Yes,
Sabotage, better than Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, better
Yes,
than
I do.
Technical
To me, because
Ecstasy?
It was the first. To me, it's because it was the first one. And what gets me the most going, Frank, is that album cover of the first album.
Yeah,
I think
spooky.
that's the best.
Yeah,
it's
old
spooky.
witch on the front or whatever it is.
And she's green and scary, and it's in a graveyard.
You know what I didn't like is when it first came out, they didn't have Evil Woman on it, and then the import had it on there.
Oh, really?
And if you get the first the American edition, it didn't have Evil Woman. And
I mean, Lady Evil.
No, this was Evil Woman. This is the Ozzy
Evil
version,
Woman?
the Evil song.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and it was a really catchy song. It was, I thought, the best song, that they had done because it was almost a toe tapper, And,
Guys, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this on the record, on a JFJ Conspiracy record. If you ask anybody on the street, who sings for Black Sabbath?
I'll say Ozzy.
Nobody's gonna say Dio.
No.
I'm not going to ask them what the best Black Sabbath album is, though.
If you ask me who sang for Sabbath, I'd say I have no idea at the moment.
Oh, you wouldn't say Tony Martin? You wouldn't say Glenn Hughes?
I don't know. I don't know who's with them now.
Glenn Hughes,
What's the last studio album? Wasn't Ozzy on the last studio album?
I think he was the
13.
last guy to sing with them, right?
Yeah.
Last studio album. That's how I do it.
Yeah, 13, and then they did the end. And I don't know if you guys got their last studio album.
No, I don't.
Hey, you know what's good about that album? You know how it ends? With that same church bell and lightning and thunder that the first album starts with.
Good way to go out.
Very fitting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It
Well
was,
done.
It was
Thanks.
eerie when I heard it. I mean, I threw that thing on, listened to the whole album, and at the end of it, it's faded out, and you hear the rain coming down, and I'm like, well, this is odd. What is it? And then the lightning and thunder, and then the church bells, and that's how it ends.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Please do.
Tony Iommi did say hi to me once, though.
Did he? He didn't
Yeah.
punch you?
Now,
didn't punch me.
did you approach him and say hi, or were you?
No, I was working as a valet, and we were doing I don't know how we ended up. We were at some hotel in West Hollywood, and we were specifically told, like, there's people staying here. You don't talk to them. You don't. Yeah, you don't. But he was across the street at some club and came walking back to the hotel. And as he was coming up, I was like, holy cat, that's Tony Iommi. And he walked past me and he was all, oh, hey, how's it going? I was like,
But he didn't say. He said it with
an
an English accent, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's tell the story correctly.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
How you doing?
I can't
Jim?
do it. I can't do it. I'll sound like Dick Van Dyke if I do an English accent. So
That's cool, though.
so anyway, at least he was friendly. He said
Yeah.
hi or whatever. And so like the guy from the hotel that was there was like, "Hey, it's Tony Iommi." And he goes, "Yeah."
Well,
But
no kidding.
Technically, he wasn't even supposed to admit that it was Tony Iommi
Right.
because of their clientele, they're not allowed to.
Probably saw your reaction, Jim. Probably
Say
saw you get all
anything.
weird.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I couldn't have a job like that because when it comes to musicians and people that I like, I have so much respect for anyone that does that kind of thing.
I'd lose it.
Yeah. Celebrity, like
I'd lose
movie
it.
stars, things that I don't care. I don't care about celebrities of that nature.
Music's different, though.
Music, for whatever reason, I about peed my pants when I was in an elevator at UCLA Medical Center with Eddie Van Halen.
Oh wow!
My mom and I got into an elevator, and he had his best friend was battling cancer at the time, and he gets on this elevator, and I'm shaking in my boots, and I turn around and I say, "I really like you guys better with David Lee Roth," and I'm just shaking as I'm saying it. And what a turd thing to say, because
He was probably like, "Who is this punk?"
yeah, and he just looked at me and shrugged his shoulders like, "Oh well,
Yeah.
tough
I'm
luck."
making more money, baby.
Yeah,
He's probably thinking to himself, "I like life a lot better without David Lee
Yes,
Roth."
You know he was. But I got off the elevator, and my mom says, "Really?
Only
That's
Frank
all
would say
you had to
something
say?"
like that, Jim. Yeah, only Frank would come up with something like that. Hey, I love you, but you were better off before, brother.
Oh, I was not a
I
Van
meant,
Hagar
uh,
fan.
That's our Frank.
I met Steve Perry when I was parking cars too. He came out of a restaurant I was working at, and I engaged him a little bit, and he didn't seem to be too thrilled to have somebody talking to him. So,
Yeah. He might
I
be
mean,
a little,
but same kind of thing. He's out to dinner, he's leaving the restaurant, and
Excuse me.
I'm engaging him a little bit, and he's kind of like, "Can I go now?"
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
and they get
And I'm
that.
holding the keys to the car, going, "No, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're not
done
going-
answering my questions."
Yeah, you got to figure you're one person out of his whole day that is constantly like that.
Yeah.
So but the way I see it is, I'm never going to see that person again. So, I'm going to say hello.
I'm going to tell him I liked him better with the old singer.
Yeah. You don't look Filipino. Yeah.
I'm never going to see Eddie again. Hey, Ed, I got
Journey
something to
was
tell
good.
you.
What are you going to do?
Well,
are
they
you
should
gonna do?
understand at a certain point. There's going to be, because us three are reasonably, mellow dudes. But I think even to this day, if I saw somebody like that, I'd get all.
Yeah.
I think I would. I can't think of anybody right off the top. Joe Satriani, I would. I'd
I
get
think-
weird.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
they put I hear he's really hit and miss. Joe Satriani.
Really? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
I talked to a guy that worked at his label, and he specifically went to the label to work there because Joe Satriani was on that label. I don't it was Relativity or something like that, and that was kind of like his goal to meet Joe Satriani. And then when he met him, he said like, "Well, he's really hit and miss. Some days he's really cool, other days he's kind of a punk."
Well,
That's
there
all
you go,
down.
folks.
But he gets tired of answering the same questions all the time,
That's
right?
the thing.
So
That's what I'm saying. You're seeing them all day long like that.
No, good point. Good point, guys. Yeah.
Well, guys, this next episode 9, will be Jim's pick for a classic album to revisit.
You're up, Jim.
What do you got for us?
Yeah, I just realized today, I was like, hey, I think I'm supposed to pick an album.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Cheap Trick. In color,
Oh,
black and white.
nice.
Mm.
So
Good
I
album.
was debating going back
Second
and
album, right,
forth
Jim?
Between,
It's their second. Oh.
yeah, it's the second one. So I was debating that or Live at Budokan.
I gotta write that
Just
down.
kind of what blew them up. But
Yeah, Budokan's what broke them, but I heard
So many
In Color.
good songs.
I think In Color's a great album.
It is.
so
Yeah.
We'll go with that one.
What was their deal with those album covers? With 2 of them on one side and 2 of them on the other.
The two studs in front and the two dorks on back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, it's funny how they had that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a good
They're all
pick.
shook up. All shook up. They're all 4 on front.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
well,
Cheap Trick in color. Ah,
I like it, Jim.
yes.
I'm going to like going back to that. I
That's a
remember
good
a little
tunes.
phase when I was into that. Yeah.
See, now you call them power pop, and I call them a straight out rock band. They rocked when they wanted to. That first album, especially.
Yeah, the first album completely rocked.
Yeah, that was almost
Yes.
a punk album.
Yeah, I would agree, Frank. Yeah.
It was raw. But In Color had a lot of radio-friendly tunes.
Sure
did.
Yes. They reeled it in a little.
And at a certain point, they became the American Beatles, you know? They just kind of had the harmonies, and they just took off with it. And some people may not 100% agree with that, but
I liked them.
they were our answer to the Beatles as
Yep.
far as,
Yep.
you know, the type of music they're playing.
Because I wasn't a Beatles nut, I didn't realize it till much later, like how badly they wanted to be the Beatles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they really did that. Now, you said power pop, so if you go on their website, I believe it's on their website,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to their bio, they call themselves the
Undisputed Kings.
Undisputed Kings
Mm-hmm.
of power pop. So
Really?
Well,
I mean, it's undisputable. So
but
how
you
gonna
don't
dispute
you
that,
don't
Frank?
you don't get to name yourself though. That's the thing.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for that. You don't
somebody
get,
you don't
They
get
owned it, evidently.
you don't get to tell me what your nickname is. I'll give you a nickname.
That's
don't tell me
right.
what your nickname is.
But
and
according to
don't tell me
them, they are the undisputed king.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
well, I'm the undisputed king of podcasts. What about that?
That's right.
See, you're
See, I'm
the
not
undisputed
gonna argue.
king. You're the how do we
Well, there's
How
only
can
three of
anybody
us.
argue that now?
Yeah, how can
It's
anybody argue
it's
that?
undisputed.
It's undisputed.
Oh,
we should
I'm
do
sure
an
there's
album cover, guys, but there's only three of us. Who's going to be on front? Who's going to be on back?
I'll
We
be
should
the-
all three be on the back, right?
Oh, yeah. The dorks on the back.
Somebody has to carry Frank's crown.
Yeah.
That'll be me.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh, I love it.
All right, guys. Well, I tell you what, we'll revisit Cheap Trick in Color on the next episode. We'll bring you some more music. And until then, I guess the shop is closed, huh?
Keep rocking, folks.
Shop is closed.
All right. Goodbye.